What's up, guys? It's Caliber, Dragon Enthusiasts. Welcome back. I just wanted to make a quick deck profile. It's probably not going to be quick. For the deck that I played for TGS's Edison Monthly, I ended up playing Dragon Turbo. Um, I am very happy to see that the Edison community is growing, even though this isn't really like my background or my bread and butter. This was their 12th monthly. It now had a new record of 80 players, and it's been 12 monthlies so far, so this is just a full year of Edison growing and growing. It's crazy to see how it just grows incrementally month by month. So I ended up getting into this format just to escape some personal stuff, as well as Snake Eye came out around the time these monthlies started happening. And if anybody remembers that, it was you could literally see yourself lose just by your opening hand. And I'm sure that happens in this format sometimes, but there is a lot of interactivity. There's just a lot of like it's lower powered, so it's just so much easier to get into. Certainly not as complex. Certainly not as well, maybe I could have said this a couple months ago before the Gigavice and Fork deck came out, but certainly not as combo heavy. And to completely contradict that, I ended up playing Dragon Turbo for the whole event anyway. So, um, funny story, there was a deck list error. I ended up getting top 8. The only thing is, the last time I got top 8 too, I had another deck list error. This time it was, I marked Royal Oppression and Mask Restrict as 3 in my side deck instead of 2. Which is funny because they're both semi-limited, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, technically it is an incorrect deck list, so I ended up getting a game loss for it, and that was unfortunate. But it is what it is. Next time I won't handicap myself. I'll just give my deck list to the store owner Nick, and he just had the funniest face when he saw that I made the same mistake again. I'll never forget it. But I'll go over my matchups really quickly. Round one, and I'm just full spoiler. The whole thing was birds for me. Round one was Vayu. Round two was Black Wings. Round three was Vayu. Round four was Black Wings. Round five was my first loss to Alex Chen. Shout out to him. He was undefeated and won the last monthly, and he ended up going undefeated the entire monthly this time. It's just he lost in the final. So shout out to him. Just insane win rate. But he was on Hero Beat. And it was kind of funny because game one, I'm looking at the future fusion in my hand, like, oh my gosh, this is disgusting. I'm about to win. And then he summons Banisher of Radiance, and like, well, game two. So round six was Blackwing as well. Shout out to Gerardo, who's my only other loss in Swiss. He was playing a Solidarity build, which was kind of funny because I was listening to the commentators talk about his lists and his choices and finals, and they were talking about how Solidarity is a do-nothing card sometimes. And it's true, I get it. It doesn't really advance the game state. It's just a buff, but it isn't a superficial buff when you're getting rushed down. And, you know, a good Blackwing player knows is like you cannot let Dragon Turbo have turns. I was dead in the water with my hand, and he made the correct decision to just keep punching me. So, yeah, good guy. I like his list. I like his deck choices. Round 7 was another Blackwings. Shout out to Marcus Hayden. It was a bit of a back and forth, and I ended up just clutching it out there, but really good player. Yeah, I won't lie. I got a little bit lucky, so I'll just have to just admit that before anybody comes at me. And then, again, deck list error. I'm going in a top cut with a game loss, but it was another Blackwing match. It just was the worst hand possible. I'm looking at 5 dragons. I'm like, all right, draw for turn. Please, card destruction, anything. And it was a super rejuve, so I'm like, all right, well... I guess we'll have to just call it here. So, it was a lot of birds. If I'm not mistaken, there was a lot of Blackwings in the room. I understand why. It is growing in popularity again in the Chicago area. Seems like all the good players are back on it. And so be it. I think they're all doing like some deck list sharing and testing. Sorry to like air their laundry out for everybody, but I think they are doing some testing for like Ultimate Time Wizard and stuff that's happening like Nationals. And... it was not as tough as I thought it would be. A lot of my Blackwing matchups felt pretty much no different from anything else that I've played, which is just, you know, try to draw and sculpt the perfect hand and stay alive. Sometimes, though, I was just dead in the water, but it is Dragon Turbo. That is the nature of the deck. So we'll get into the card by card real quick. 3 Red Eyes Darkness, standard. 3 Blue Eyes. 3 White Stone. 3 Debris. And 1 Flamvel. And 1 Kawaki Mirror for the Dragons. I decided to put Prime Material back in the side deck The last monthly that I played in February, I brought the same deck, but I changed the list around after watching Hydro Pump. He's another good Dragon Turbo player. I was looking at his list and I kind of agreed. You know, these upstarts not really real cards. It just makes your deck like 37 count in all actuality. And he was playing like Mirror Force and Torrential in the main, and I kind of agreed. It might have been handy to have like cards that said, you know, like if you want to try to rush me down, I'm going to punish you for it. But I also did notice in this room there was a lot of Starlight Roads being played, which was kind of insane. I don't know if anybody made that consensus and like was just like everybody we're going to play Starlight Roads now, but it was just everywhere I could see in the room. So I'm actually kind of glad that I didn't play those today because maybe I would not have been able to punish people as much as I thought. I am glad I'm back in the upstarts. I was insanely more consistent, and maybe Prime Material being in the side is good for now. It really didn't put in too much work today. I really want it for like maybe Black Wings. Definitely Black Wings, but like Machina is another thing too. It's also nice to have for Trident lines, but I'm more happy with this like consistent glass cannony version. The only two monsters that I played in the main that weren't dragons were Vortex and Tragodia. I know there's talks, shout out to Ghost Rider, of like bumping this up to like 2 to 3, and I considered it, but Vortex, honestly, this is just a me thing. It's anecdotal. The mulligans I get off of him are just terrible. I never ever seem to be getting good pieces. I'll shuffle like a Magical Stone Excavation or something back, and I'll always get it back right back in my hand. So I'm fine with one for now. Tragodia standard. I don't play Gores because you definitely set some cards sometimes, and it's not live. 3 upstarts, of course. This was a little bit scary. I definitely put a couple players up to like 11k, but it did also help the consistency of the deck, so the trade-off is worth it. Card destruction was glued to my hand a lot during the tournament, especially my early games. The first 4 rounds, it was undefeated. This definitely put in work. I threw a lot of players' good cards in the grave, and I definitely gave myself a lot of Dragon discards for Super Rejuve. So shout out to Card Destruction. That was actually the MVP card, not so much Future Fusion. Pot of Avarice, just one. Both sweepers. I do like this because the amount of Black Wings I did play, this Heavy Storm was able to clear just a couple cards for me to be able to like make plays. Like I'd draw in a Future Fusion later on in the game. And then, you know, I ended up clearing like a Royal Oppression at one point, and that was like, oh, thank God. I just decided to sack a Heavy right now. 2 Instant Fusions, 1 Future Fusion. This has definitely been in my hand very frequently. That was definitely good to have. I was definitely seeing some looks on people's faces like, oh my God, you have it both games. It's like, I'm sorry, buddy. But 2 Magical Stone, 3 Rejuve, 3 cards of Consonance, 3 Trade-In, Standard, and 3 Reckless Greed. On the other side, we've got the 2 Royal Decree. This is definitely coming in for Black Wings, so I definitely saw it a lot today. 2 Mask Restrict. I didn't play any Frogs, so unfortunately I didn't get to use this. 2 Royal Oppression. I was anticipating stuff like Gigavice to be there, but this never came in because I only played against Vayu and Black Wings, and Hero Beat, which this does nothing against. So there's absolutely did not need to be in there. It's not like I could have possibly known. I should anticipate that more Blackwing players are going to be showing up, but I just kind of wanted to have all big 3 covered. Mirror Force and Torrential Tribute. These come in for Vayu, not Blackwings, because Blackwings is a little more trap dependent. So I'll just put the Royal Decrees in there, take out the Recklesses instead, and there's no point to have 2 conflicting side cards. These will come in for Vayu, though, when they try to run me down. This Mirror Force definitely won me my Game 3 against a Vayu player that I happen to know personally. He kind of had to just play the game in such a way where it was like, all right, I have to attack you, and if that is a Mirror Force, it's GG, and it was. So, 2 DD Crow. I sided 1 in against Vayu. It did not come up in the way I expected it, though, so it was just there. Not a lot of these cards performed. 1 Card Trooper. This goes in second against decks that I think are going to play like Consecrated Light. None of them did, so it kind of just stayed in there. And I don't put it in if I feel like there's... I mean, every deck I faced today besides Crowbeat was going to play DDV. So this did not come in because, unlike Vortex, where if it's destroyed, you can draw a card, this one has to be something you control, then you can draw the card. So I didn't put it in for that reason. One, Red Eyes Wyvern. Against DDV decks, I like to put this along with the other Kawaki Meru Drago in there. That way I have bigger bodies that don't lose to DDV, but also, like, this is a good card to have in your grave if you need to set up a Red Eyes to revive. Didn't come up. The only time I saw him, I banished him immediately to summon Red Eyes. But this, in theory, is good to have when you just need to put guys on the board and play a little bit of a back and forth. Prime Material. This was a good card for the couple times it did come up. Yeah, I pretty much guaranteed being able to go for lethal because I know one of my opponents had back row and I was like, this is probably a Mirror Force, but I just made it nothing to worry about with this card. I definitely am glad it's back in the side right now for now. We'll see if that changes. There was one time I was playing it in the main, but it kind of is a brick. It doesn't work with any of your discard spells. You can discard it to make a rejuve higher, but it's not it doesn't really warrant it to be in the main. Like I said, another Kawaki Meru Drago. This was coming in a lot because of DDV having to go second, just needing a bigger body to like clear boards, and I just kept sticking him onto the field to like pressure Blackwing and Vite and not be able to go for game immediately. They'd have to like brain con something, and it never felt good because no matter what, their battle phase was never going to be like super high impact. And then one Lightning Vortex. This was coming in for if I think Fossil Dyna was going to hit the field or like Majesty's Fiend. So this ended up coming in a lot second. My side deck, honestly, was not the most impactful thing today besides the Royal Decree, but even then, I didn't see this a whole lot. It was mainly just dragons doing dragon things. Onto the extra, I am playing an Ally of Justice Catastor, a Brio. This is kind of like a staple for this deck. This was an MVP today. Iron Chain Dragon didn't come up. Goyo Guardian did not come up either. Black Rose did nuke a board at one point, and then I also did just use it to pressure as a body. Ancient Fairy. I was not on Dark End. I'm so sorry. I should have swapped this out. This was an Armory Arm, but that also did not come up, so it kind of doesn't matter. One Stardust, one Trident. Both didn't come up either. Dark Blazes, I am glad I'm still playing 2 because 2 definitely came up, and both of these came up today too, so I'm going to keep the fusions this way. You summon Ojama Knight first because you might be able to recycle it later on with Debris Dragon. Mariner can come in when maybe there is a Kawaki Meru on the field. It did get... Or no, I'm sorry. It was a Darkfire that got bottomless, which was kind of funny. 1/5-headed dragon, you need to. The one time it did hit the field, it got bottomless immediately, so rip. I'll never get the punch with him. And then Dragoness the Wicked. I do kind of want to play Flame Ghost when I get my hands on it. I'm just going to go through my bulk. But I think Flame Ghost would be better just for Colossal Fighter. But that is the deck. Like I said, it performed. I feel like I can go all the way next time. If I first off remember to submit my deck list, but definitely just I'll give you my rundown of how I practice. I literally just go into solo mode, which we'll do right now. Actually, ignore the ads. I'm sorry. It's DB. I don't have an ad blocker. It is what it is. I hate this site so much. I'm not gonna lie, but this is if you're somebody like me who just cannot stand practicing on DB. This is the perfect deck because literally I'll just sit here. While just like listening to a podcast or something, and I'll just be playing with myself. Pause. But yeah, with like a hand like this, you know, obviously you're not completely dead in the water. We'll fire off the upstart, see what we get here. A lot of your hands, you will look at it like, okay, this is great. I've drawn some cards. I don't know how my opponent's going to play though, because I don't sit across from somebody else. But you do end up just cycling a lot through your hands where you're like, all right, I know how to draw better now. This is a bit solitaire. And then there are other hands where you're just like this, for instance, where I don't really want to do anything right now. Maybe a better Dragon Turbo player would try to do something with Instant Fusion and the White Stone, but I don't see a way to get 5 bodies in the grave right now for this Avarice. I don't think it's worth it, and I don't have a Rejuve in hand. So I'm just going to try and set up here. I'm assuming my opponent doesn't kill me this turn, but, you know, we go for our next draw. That's a Super Rejuve, so that's live. And we can just fire this off. Grab 2. These are good cards to have now, like we're kind of alive again. We'll see what we draw here. That is another counter for Super Rejuve. Let's grab our additional blue eyes here. Yep. I thought this would be a little bit more. I thought this would be a little bit better. I'm not gonna lie, but then we can try to go for a play like this. I'm sure they have a board committed already, so how you want to play into this is completely up to you. I did notice that a lot of players I ended up going against today. I think a lot of them didn't recognize I was on turbo immediately, but even the ones who like knew I played this deck, they shoot that you definitely can't do that in Edison. My bad. A couple of them in kind of just they played very very safe, just like set one back row, and that kind of allowed me to play like this, where it was like, all right, if you're not answering my summons, I'm just gonna discard a couple things. So we have these rejuves here, which are very handy. I'm assuming he's just got nothing committed to the field here. We'll just bounce this back, and we'll do that again and again until we've just bumped the dragon count up. But here's a good example of like, okay, maybe we don't need to go for the combo because we do have a red MD in hand. I do want to kind of bump up the dragon count first. But let's say like instead of spinning back a rejuve, we can still pretend we did here. But we could have also like spun back another card if he didn't answer this Brio. So now we've just discarded 3 dragons. Assuming he's got no back row left, like this is coming out. That's bringing back a dragon. And it's like, yeah, he could play Gores here, but like, or even Tragodia. But we have the Brio to spin it back again. So we could go in for a ton of damage here. Just say, yeah, you don't have anything. And I know he's at 9k, so this isn't going to kill him, I don't believe. Or he's actually at 10k, so this brings him down immediately. I have a board set up that he has to answer. And then at the end of it, I'm firing off these rejuves. Yeah, so that was a total of 4 dragons this turn, if I'm not mistaken. So, yeah, we have plenty to keep in hand. I'm going to go end phase here. Let's draw 4. And then, good, we don't have to discard anything, and the Tragodia means we're not dying. We have another Red Eyes for follow-up, and the Pot of Avarice will be able to shuffle things back. So it's like, that's a good example of, all right, that wasn't like the full draw your whole deck combo, but that's just a good example of you get in the middle of the game, and if you're able to stick like Brio and make some space for you, you're kind of chilling. You're in an advantageous position. I am surprised that I didn't have to go combo versus combo. Oh my gosh, this hand. I was really anticipating a lot of Gigavice, but that just did not happen. I did not like that I drew the white stone for turn. Obviously, reveal 5-headed here. These two are definitely going in the grave. I don't know why I'm doing like a practice hand / like in-depth look at Dragon Turbo. I mean, this has probably been done 1,000 times, but you know, there's other better players to look at who'll, you know, actually sit down through a whole match of DB. I'm tossing a debris in there because I can always have the option to find more instant fusions or or keep this in hand even potentially if I really need to summon Red Eyes. But that sending those 5 is going to allow me to plus at least 2 for the for the White Stones grabbing me dragons. Let's see, do we get a good card here? Unfortunately not. I could Stone Excavation for another upstart. I don't think it's worth it, so we'll just I think. No, not having Blue Eyes in the grave. No, under this circumstance, I'm considering summon the White Stone, especially if I'm going first. Summon White Stone, summon a Red Eyes Darkness Metal, and then bring back a Blue Eyes. But I'm committing 3 cards in hand if I want to do it that way. It isn't the most threatening board. I am telling my opponent, you better have Brain Con or something, or a way to clear these before I just start punching you. But I don't think it's worth it in this case. We have the Reckless anyway, so we can go draw for turn. 1 is passing on the Future Fusion, so 1 more turn to answer. Let's see what we get. He's at 10k now, and this is just like perfect. So I am going to fire this off because I know drawing won't be a problem in a minute here. And then like, oh my gosh, yeah. So we're just going to combo now. Like we already have, we almost have like every single card we need. 1 dragon discarded this turn. All right, let's keep going. Another rejuve and a card's of consonance. Oh my goodness. Yeah, discard these 2. There are no Blue Eyes left in deck for me to plus off of that, but it is what it is. We don't have a sweeper in grave either. That kind of sucks. I'm assuming that a person who has an aggro enough deck realizes that, like, I'm in way too much of a space for them to keep me alive, so he might, like, go for, like, a lethal push. I didn't put any cards on board last turn, so he probably did attack me for quite a bit, so who knows what the 8,000 looks like right now. Very, very good to assume that I'm probably not dead. Let's see. I could Cards of Consonance. Our total discard count is 3 right now. With 16 left in the deck. I could Consonance again. But then there's only 1 debris left in the deck, and I need a sweeper to maybe deal with whatever he has, but I think it's worth it here to debris. Like, I'm sorry, it's very weird to showcase me just playing by myself and not having other real cards. This is why I think maybe anybody else would probably be a better crash course for this deck, but 4 dragons is totaled or discarded for this total, and then there's 3 rejuves in hand. That's that'd be 12 cards if I really wanted to. The only thing is, if I do use all rejuves right now, I cannot Pot of Avarice because I will be drawing for turn, and that will leave 1 left in deck. That is the only issue with this. I think here, though, I would definitely try to start playing the game, so that'll bring me down 1,000. But he's going to have to, like, answer this. And, yeah, if it sticks, it sticks. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But that's fine because we have follow-up for days. We can assume that the battle went successfully. Who knows? Who cares? But we're going to fire off 2 rejuves. So that is 4 times 2, which is 8. We could stone, but it's not worth it here. We might want to keep that for bringing back, like, instant fusion. The only reason we didn't go for game this turn is specifically I didn't have a sweeper, so I needed to discard this for this debris for Cards of Consonance to, like, dig deeper. We didn't end up finding a sweeper still, so there's a good chance we find it now. We set the Reckless anyway. We're probably fine on cards, but we go end phase here, draw, and you can make an argument to set the Magical Stone, but, like, he knows this is the future fusion's about to resolve in a second here. He might sweep now. We'll see, but we're drawing 4 and then drawing 4. That leaves us with 6 cards left in deck. I'm fine with this. I'm not going to use the other rejuve. We're just going to toss it in the grave. This Reckless is probably not coming up. I don't want to give him more life points. Throw the Vortex in case another debris comes up. That way we're able to, what do you call it? Maybe go for a Black Rose play. But the funny thing is, we didn't draw into the last debris. We do have a sweeper now. Let's see. Yeah, so there's 1 debris left in deck, but we do have the Reckless Greed here. So it's not the end of the world. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We definitely want to get rid of this. And we probably won't be needing this. So these are the 6 cards I'm going to keep. This is fine. And again, like, he has to answer the board that I've already put up, and then by my next turn, a 5-headed's coming on field too. I don't draw for turn because, if I'm not mistaken, we are under Reckless Greed. Yep. But we fire this off, and there we go. That's Debris Dragon. Now, again, there was 4 other cards left in deck. This could have been anything, but I think we're still in an advantageous position where even if I have to heavy and we lose my cards, he still has to answer that with maybe a Solemn. Otherwise, that's like putting his life points at half, and I'm not sure that's what he wants to do in this position. And let's say he even cleared this too. We still have follow-up here, so, like, the sweeper gets rid of that. We go back for the Debris Dragon, and we might not even have to go for a Brio play here because that would require the instant fusion. Like I said, we put the Vortex Trooper in grave. So here, we can answer the rest of his board right now with a Black Rose. Black Rose can nuke the whole, wherever you come out. There we go. Black Rose can nuke the field. Back row's gone. Field's gone. He's wide open. We bring out the last Dark Blaze. And I'm sure you guys already see where I'm going with this. It's not rocket science, but just bring out any other dragon. Come on. Yeah, that's 1 dragon summoned off Red Eyes. The second one comes out. Declare, and if we are really worried about Battle Fader, Gores, he should be low enough by this point after last turn where we are able to get in for the rest of the damage that we need here. So, I understand not the cleanest crash course into Dragon Turbo. There are better players who are playing against other players looking at this deck, but maybe you wanted to see my insight or the way I was thinking about this entire tournament. That's kind of what a lot of my games looked like. It wasn't like rejuve for 20, but sometimes just grabbing a couple cards from your deck and saying, I still need to keep something in there. Might need to see a Pot of Avarice or something, just little stuff like that. Wow, what a hand. It's always like a White Stone and a Blue Eyes coming to my hand, and then, yeah, kind of like the same thing as the hand we just started out with. But thank you guys. I understand this wasn't a quick deck profile anymore because of this little display, but I appreciate you sticking around, and I hope to see you all at the next TGS Monthly happening in April. Peace out.